Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Final Fantasy XII, let's continue on. This is part 10. We just beat Belial in the Tomb of the Wraithwall, and we're right on the cusp of getting the Dawn Shard, which Ashe needs to prove her heritage.
Of the Dynast King and an Esper. The story goes that in his youth, the Dynast King defeated a mighty Gigas, for which the gods took heed of him. Thereafter, it was ever bound to him in thraldom.
We're talking about Belial, who turns out to be an Esper.
So, all this time it's been here guarding the Dynast King's treasure?
Not so. The Esper is the Dynast King's treasure.
That's your treasure?
In this Esper we now command rests a power whose worth is beyond any measure.
Well, Balthier is disappointed. He came because he wanted treasure.
Call me old-fashioned, but I was hoping for a treasure whose worth we
Right.
measure.
Lucre, that's what Balthier wants. And then this room should be where the Dawn Shard is. Yeah, great simple look, I feel like, to some parts of this game. I feel like other Final Fantasies of this era were kind of over-designed with just too much fanciness. I'm thinking specifically of Final Fantasy X. But yeah, nice, kind of spare, more realistic looking Final Fantasy XII.
What's wrong?
What is wrong with Vossler?
Your Majesty, we must go.
What?
Whoa, it's Rassler. This is Ashe's dead husband. It's funny, even he was a playable character in Final Fantasy FFXII. And I guess Vaughn can see him too, but nobody else can? And Ashe acts very strong, but this is a rare moment of tenderness from her. But then she gets back to tough with, "You will be avenged." Very cool. That was another teeny little hint at romance between Ashe and Vaughn, which will end up nowhere. Alright. That was surprisingly touching, that part there. And we'll skip ahead to where we exit the tomb. And here is the Empire. I walked a long way to come here, and they're just gonna fly in? That's not cool.
Such a tremendous honor to again be graced with your presence, Majesty. You left us with such great dispatch upon our last encounter that I must confess I had begun to worry that we may have given your Majesty some cause for offense.
Such a heartfelt display of remorse. Now what is it you want?
Judge Geese again here, him and his wonderful voice.
The nether site?
That is a base imitation. We seek Wraithwall's legacy, the ancient relics of the Dynast King.
So it turns out the Dynast King relics are also nethicite.
Majesty, he speaks of the Dawn Shard. That is the nethicite. Are you mad, Vossler? If we are to save Dalmasca, we must accept the truth.
Vossler has been working with the other team the entire time. But this Final Fantasy is kind of different from the era that it came in. That it came out in that, you know, there's more gray area. People have different values, different things that they fight for. It's not as clear saying, you know, who is right, who is wrong.
And when all is said and done, your master will have another pet.
Lady Ashe, let us take him for the people of Dalmasca. Your Majesty wallows.
And I watched a kind of a review,
and his shall be the first
a kind of a retrospective that only came out last year, thinking about kind of the legacy of Final Fantasy XII. And it asked some interesting questions, like, what if this game was not a mainline Final Fantasy? What if it was like Final Fantasy Tactics 2 or something?
Dr. Sid will be beside himself.
What did you say?
Captain Ivalice.
Final Fantasy X brought in a whole bunch of people into the Final Fantasy franchise. And so for them that was their first experience, and then that was kind of their idea of what a Final Fantasy was. And then 12 is so much different from it that maybe it led to sort of the bad reputation, led to it not selling as much as the other Final Fantasies. It's interesting to think about. I also feel like the game didn't play up its lineage with, you know, the Final Fantasy Tactics game. If that connection were made more strongly, maybe more people would have gone into it. And then that retrospective review that I watched, I was also kind of wondering if the game had come out too soon, if the game was ahead of its time. Both in terms of its story, which is kind of gray area, which we see a lot more of in Final Fantasy XVI, and then also in the battle system with the gambits.
I believe Lars is the key. He'll listen to us. We should trust him.
Who are you, Vossler, to talk of trust?
Maybe it came out before, you know, the general public was really ready for it. Or maybe the general public would never be ready for it. And we might see that kind of reflected in Final Fantasy XVI as well.
Our equipment here is limited, so we'll be using the ship's
Alright, anyway, I've been talking over the story here. But Judge Geese took the nethicite, and then in exchange, he would restore Ashe as ruler. But she would be kind of a pawn, sort of like at Bujerba, the Ondor, Mayor Ondor there. And then Judge Geese, he wants to test out the nethicite, so he put it into the engines of the ship, the Shiva ship. And it seems he wants to be emperor. And then he will try to take it with power, through power. And that too, that's another Tactics E plot twist. Backstabbing and intrigue. And the mist is very strong for some reason. It's either coming from the tomb, or it's coming from the nethicite. But makes Fran go crazy. Helps him escape.
How about you?
I like Fran's idea. Let's get out of here.
No farther! Sky pirates. The future of Dalmasca will not be stolen.
Oh no! Well, we gotta fight Vossler. He's not wrong, you know, he's trying to protect his homeland, but he's going about it the wrong way.
Where it leads. I do know. All too well.
That's funny. Fran has the, what is it, the Berserker status effect? Alright, there goes Vossler.
Engine power falling rapidly. Each negative, impossible.
That was an interesting kind of shot of Ashe. She didn't end up saying anything. She was clearly deep in thought. Maybe a look of doubt across her face? She had utter faith in Vossler. And maybe she feels betrayed here. Maybe she's wondering who she can trust?
I've ever thought of Dalmasca first.
Of course she wants to, you know, restore herself
I would ne'er gainsay your
and
loyalty.
Dalmasca.
Look on what my haste has wrought.
But maybe it's not as cut and dry
Too quick.
as
Or was your return too late?
she would like to think that fight would be.
I can serve her no more. You
But
must take my
Vossler doesn't
charge.
die here. So maybe we'll meet him again. But he does kind of give up in shame, in a sense. But the Dawn Shard is reacting very negatively. Oh. Maybe we're not going to see Vossler again. Alright, our heroes get away in the little transport. And holy crap. So a bunch of airships, and I think that was the Leviathan there. The flagship there. All gone. Holy mackerel.
This might get a little dicey.
The mist. It manifests now.
Is that what you call this?
What's that?
And there's the Dawn Shard.
I think it's the Dawn Shard.
Then what are we waiting for?
That's convenient. Blow up everybody and then go back and pick it up again. And this blew my mind. I had forgotten that this was in the game. But we get this kind of story time, talking over a map. And then this part kind of references two things. One is sort of that mid-narration that we find in, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, where we look at the map, you know, and some time passes, and we talk about the situations of the different nations and our heroes. Done by sort of the elder character, like it's Warren in Tactics Ogre. And it also references Final Fantasy I. After you defeat Garland and then rescue Princess Sarah, the king builds a bridge for you, and then you cross the bridge. And then this music starts playing, and it has a bit of a scroll, you know? Scroll of text telling you your adventure is now beginning. And so to see this here, you know, it kind of makes me feel like Final Fantasy XII is now beginning. So cool. So well done. Surprising as well. And I've been playing the game 15 hours, but I guess that was warm-up here. But yeah, here the world is going to open up. And then also Ashe's sort of like motivations are also going to open up.
The Rosarian Empire assembles a vast host under guise of...
And then I did say before that I was going to kind of skip a lot of the cutscenes where just various bad guys talk to each other, but we'll include this one. We have kind of the elders of the evil empire speaking here, talking about how they lost their Leviathan and their fleet, and also their thoughts or their plans for the king, the emperor, and his two sons, Vayne and Larsa.
Find ourselves in such perilous circumstance.
Lord Vayne shall be made to answer for his actions. It is the will of the Senate.
They do not seem impressed with Vayne, who they deem reckless, bringing the fleet out so far and losing it.
Convenient thing, justice. And so I must now make a choice between my throne and my son. A most lamentable situation for us all.
For Lord Vayne, perhaps. Yet surely Lord Larsa will make for a fine emperor.
Larsa so adores his brother, and he is yet young. But he will not remain young forever. Already he busies himself unraveling Lord Vayne's tangled skein. Lord Larsa has found his role to play and pursues it with some enthusiasm.
Ah, yes. And who would set him at such tasks?
What matter? Lord Vayne himself once saw his elder brothers brought to like justice, did he not? At your Excellency's behest, as I recall.
That's a bit of a surprise. Actually feel a little bit sorry for this emperor who has lost multiple sons already to this council sort of thing.
Watches over her, Arcadia's well-being will ever be ensured.
Perhaps he's just a figurehead.
I shall bid Vayne return to Arcades.
Alright, so that was interesting. Ugh, stop it. That was almost like comical there.
So, it was the Dawn Shard that brought down the Imperial fleet. You know your stuff. Destructive power of such force. I've seen it once before. Lady Ashe, you know of what I speak.
Nabudis.
The capital of Old Nebradia, Lord Rassler's fatherland. At the time of the invasion, a division of Imperials entered the city. There was a mighty explosion. Friend and foe died alike. Something was there. One of the Dynast King's relics. The Midlight Shard was in Nebradia.
Aha. Yeah, I think we heard a rumor of that explosion before, but now we get an explanation.
That ridiculous war. The trap at the treaty signing. All this because Vayne wanted power. He must not be allowed to claim the Nethicite. The Empire must never hold it.
Oh, they already do. The Dusk Shard? Most likely the Midlight Shard, too. Besides, can't they manufacture Nethicite now?
Very well. Then the path set before us is clear. We'll use the Dawn Shard to fight them. Dalmasca does not forget kindness, nor ill deed done. With sword in hand, she aids her allies. Sword in hand, she lays to rest her foes. This Nethicite I hold must be my sword. I will avenge those who have died. And the Empire will know remorse.
Ooh, hardcore. I like it.
You even know how to use it?
Shut up, Van.
The Garif may know. The Garif people live by the old ways. Magicite lore is a part of their culture. They may hear it. The cry of the Nethersight's power. Whispers of the stone's menace.
Dangerous though it be, what we need now is power. Should we declare Dalmasca free without the means to defend our claim, the Empire would crush us. You must take me to meet with the Garif.
They live beyond Osman Plain.
Not exactly close.
Compensation, is that what you want?
Straight to the point, aren't we? I like that. Compensation. How about the ring?
This? Isn't there something else?
No one's forcing you.
Balthier could have left after the Tomb of the Wraithwall, after essentially receiving nothing for it. But he's still here.
I'll give it back to you as soon as I find something more valuable.
I never bought Balthier as a heartless scoundrel,
something more valuable.
but stuff like this here makes me think he has a heart of gold.
I'll know where to find it. What is it you want, Vaughn? What are you looking for?
Me? What am I looking for? I guess... Well, you know...
Ooh. Is that the game kind of admitting that Van is nobody? And he has no direction?
The Gareth are said to dwell in Kirwan.
So they do. We'll need to head south, past the Giza Plains.
It is the range.
Also, in that retrospective review, the person said that Van is a pretty weak main character, so I felt vindicated there. But Van, you know, he doesn't ruin the game for me.
First things first.
It's kind of fun to hate him, fun to laugh at him, so he does add to the experience. Adds some unique enjoyment to it. But yeah, love this game. Alright, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.